Hello everyone, welcome to our 21 days answer writing challenge for CAPF AC Paper-2 examination of 2026. The model answers of all these questions can be downloaded from our app, the link for which will be given in the description to this particular video. So today we will discuss the model answer format for day 6, which deals with report writing. Moving on to the question, report writing is about the strategic significance of Greater Nicobar project. The Greater Nicobar project has been in use very frequently in recent times. So in this background, we can expect a report on similar lines. So as usual, we will start with the approach or structure to this particular report writing. So for this particular report, as usual, we have the base structure of this X, Y, Z or ABC, and then the place, and followed by that the date. So this is going to be a constant across all the report writing. So we will go into the main picture, which will be starting with an introduction about the launch of the Great Nicobar project. And since they have asked about the strategic significance, we can discuss the strategic significance from many different dimensions: geostrategic or the defense significance, and then economic significance, environmental significance. When it comes to this environmental perspective, more than the significance, there will be concerns. Right? We can split it into two separate parts. One will be discussing about the significance, and the other one will discuss about the challenges or concerns associated or the recent criticisms it is facing. So in this regard, we can discuss about the environmental concerns and then its impact on the indigenous tribal people, and followed by that we can finish with the conclusion, how to maintain a fine balance between the developmental needs and environmental protection, especially respecting the rights of the indigenous tribal people also, which is in short we can describe it as like sustainable development without threatening the ecology or the environment. That we can highlight here. So going on with the elaborate discussion, you can give a very brief introduction about the Great Nicobar project, when it was introduced and what were the objectives, key objectives or aims of this particular project. So, and a few provisions of this particular project can all be discussed in this particular introductory part. Followed by that, we can go with the geostrategic significance. When we discuss about the geostrategic significance, this particular project is being developed close to the geostrategic significance. It is being developed close to the Malacca Strait, which is a very important choke point in the international maritime trade. By positioning ourselves strongly in this particular region, so India will be able to enhance its maritime domain awareness on the one side, and on the other side it will be also able to counter China's influence in the Indian Ocean region, and it can also provide regional security in the Indian Ocean region. Maritime domain awareness, counter China's influence, right, and regional security. And India can position itself strongly in the Indian Ocean region. So all this can be discussed under the defense or the geostrategic significance. Moving on with the economic significance aspect, since there are plans of being developing a transshipment portal in this particular region. Economic significance, transshipment port, and then tourism, etc., etc. There are plans of it. So this transshipment port will help reduce our dependence on the significant ports like Singapore, Colombo, etc. And India will begin to have a significant place in this transshipment-based global maritime economy, and then the government is also planning to boost tourism in this particular region. So These are some of the points that you can highlight in this economic significance. And moving on with the concerns or challenges associated with this particular project, you can highlight the environmental concerns. Especially there are allegations in the news that there is no proper environmental impact assessment or this social impact assessment by having consultation with the local people. These environmental and social impact assessments were not done properly or they were incomplete. There such a kind of allegations are going on, and then there are also allegations that how it will have an impact on the local ecology, especially how it will disturb the breeding grounds of leatherback turtles. Leatherback turtles. And then there is this nagapo. It's a bird. These are all endemic to this particular region. So the environmentalists fear that it will have an impact on such vulnerable species, and then there may also be impact on the coral reefs in this particular region, which is ecologically significant. So all these can be highlighted in the environmental concern. And moving on with the rights of the indigenous people. When it comes to the rights of the indigenous people, most of the tribal groups in this region are particularly vulnerable tribal people. So how their rights to livelihood, who are dependent on the forest resources or the marine resources in this region, how their livelihood will be deprived. And then exposing them to the mainstream development, how far it may make them vulnerable to disease spread, vulnerable to new disease. So all this can be discussed in this particular aspect, like impact on the indigenous people's rights. And final part, you can conclude by saying that how this sustainable development or environmental friendly development should be upheld, highlighting some of the relevant SDG goals like SDG 13, 14, etc. So if you give a comprehensive report like this, like from multidimensional perspective, discussing the report from multidimensional perspective for a 2-page, this would be a very decent enough report. So once again, we would like to emphasize the point that the model answers of all these report can be downloaded from our app, the link of which will be given in the description section. That's it. Thank you.